But it's time to discuss which are the best options for you to go ahead and select out of the Legends Choice Pack as well as the Cover Athletes Choice Pack. We will go over each and every single player and I will tell you the situation and where you select these players, but I will flat out tell you that for the Legends Choice Pack, my 3 in order is Mickey Mantle as the number 1, number 2 Chase Utley, and then I put Randy Johnson as number 3 only because out of all 5 of these legends, he's really the only player we haven't used in a hot minute. Now when it comes to the cover athletes, these are the 3 I selected. I selected Miguel Cabrera as number 1, number 2 I went with Fernando Tatis Jr., and then number 3 Shohei Ohtani, with Javier Baez being an honorable mention. Now let's go ahead and dive into where you would want to select a different player from each one. So the reason why I decided not to go with the Vladimir Guerrero route in terms of right field is because he has 60 fielding. He is a hitting card. His hitting attributes are amazing. But if you go into the starter program that is featured in the other programs, you will see that the 82 gold Babe Ruth that you get is a hitting card with very similar defense attributes, except for the arm strength, obviously, that will perform just as well as this Vladimir Guerrero Senior, excuse me. And at the end of the day, you're gonna have a ton of outfielders to choose from. So to me, right field is really not a necessity, it being a corner outfield and having an 82 overall gold at the start of the game with probably a better swing than Vladimir Guerrero Senior actually playing there. So if I were to say anyone is last, it would definitely be him. I wouldn't even suggest anyone picking him. Next up is Rickey Henderson. Rickey Henderson, you love him because of the speed. Unfortunately, this left field card does not have great fielding. The reaction is gold level, but the fielding is silver level. He does have decent contact hitting attributes, and then the power numbers, they lack, but he still will be able to hit at least a couple out. The only way you go ahead and pick Rickey Henderson is if you are one of those cheesy players. You're one of the cheesy players that you love to go ahead and bunt, you love stealing, and you're very good at doing those things. You know the situation and when it is right to do it. Though it is the only reason, the only way I would ever suggest going with Rickey Henderson. We put Randy Johnson at number 3 just because, as I said, he is one of the brand new legends, and this is probably the only diamond version of him we're going to be seeing for a while. So if you can't wait to get your hands on the new legend Randy Johnson, then go ahead and knock yourself out. But you can also get yourself for going into the starter showdown single player mode an 84 overall Robbie Ray that's very similar to Randy Johnson in terms of the arsenal, and he even has better pitching attributes than Randy Johnson, especially in terms of hit per 9, it being a 90, since that is arguably the most important attribute in terms of pitchers. It's hit per 9. You want that to be as high as possible because it shrinks the opponent's PCI, therefore making it even harder for them to hit. The reason I picked Chase Utley at number 2 is because I said Jazz was the best second baseman available. And now that the first pack that we get is random, we don't know whether or not we're gonna get Jazz now or 3 weeks down the line, depending on how fast XP moves. So Chase Utley, still having gold fielding and gold reaction, once you parallel him up to parallel 3, he will have diamond fielding and diamond reaction, which is beautiful. He is a good contact hitter, has good enough power, very similar to Rickey Henderson, except he has much better contact than Rickey Henderson, similar power numbers, but Chase Utley should have a good swing, and he's going to be playing a weak position very well defensively that you don't see a lot of cards that in the beginning of the game cycle can play. So Chase Utley, a very good card right there. But the reason I go with Mickey Mantle as the number 1 option is because the power is good. The contact numbers are great. He has 70 fielding, 74 reaction, that's good enough. 82 speed, that's good enough as well. But what really stands out is the fact he's a switch hitter. You want a lot of switch hitters inside your lineup because switch hitters are the best. You always have the pitcher's weak side, and you always have a great opportunity of just blasting one. With the power this card has, you definitely will. And where he lacks in terms of power versus left, he makes up with contact versus left. Where he lacks in terms of contact versus right, he makes up with power versus right. So all around, this is just a very, very, very balanced card. Now, when we go to the cover athletes, I'll go in order. The reason I picked Miguel Cabrera as my number 1 option is because there is no cover athlete card that is a better hitter than Miguel Cabrera. There is none, and you want in the beginning of the game cycle the best hitters you possibly can. He can play first, left, right field. I highly doubt you use him inside the outfield, but if you do use him inside the outfield, then that goes ahead and slaps the corner outfielders Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Ricky Henderson even further down the tier list. But you just can't go wrong. A card in the beginning of the game cycle that you get basically for free, unless you have to purchase him since you already purchased somebody else. You can't go wrong with the 94 contact, 102 contact, has above 80 power against both sides, and then he has bronze fielding, and then you parallel him up to parallel 1, he's gonna have silver reaction at third base. You can't go wrong with that. The reason we go with Fernando Tatis Jr. at short instead of Javier Baez at short is because this Tatis Jr. has more secondary positions. Even though if you place him at a secondary position, he's going to suffer greatly because his fielding is going to drop down to common. Now, what really stands out to me is he's a better hitter than Javier Baez, and he also has better speed. Everyone loves Tatis Jr.'s swing, and I'm no exception. I think that having a good middle infield, especially good bats up the middle, as well as good defense, even though Tatis doesn't have great defense, matters a lot. Despite him not having great defense or great reaction in general, the 89 speed should at least help you out a little bit, but the bat is really what stands out and what you want out there. So that's why I have him as number 2 if you don't want to go with Miguel Cabrera. And then at number 3, I went with Shohei Ohtani because I didn't want to put 2 shortstops inside the top 3. So Shohei Ohtani, he's always had like this weird delivery to him, and not only are you getting yourself a pitcher that has a pretty good arsenal, but you're also getting yourself a pitcher that can hit whenever he comes up to hit. And since we don't have the designated hitter inside MLB The Show 22, he is a great option to use in mini seasons or even conquests, and just not even take out the pitcher and just have him pitch complete games, to be honest with you, because you will have an extra bat inside your lineup. Now, Javier Baez, he is my honorable mention because despite him not having as great hitting numbers as Tatis Jr., he still does have pretty amazing hitting numbers. He's more of a platoon hitter as he's better against lefties, but he makes up for what Tatis lacks in terms of the defense with 89 fielding, 91 reaction. So you would go with Javier Baez instead of Tatis if you prefer the fielding and you want to have a solid defensive middle infield out there. So you would go with him, and 78 speed is still pretty good. Once he hits parallel 1, that's going to be diamond fielding as well. When we go to Bryce Harper, like I said, corner outfielders just don't entice me, especially when they have low fielding such as 63, and you could get yourself that 82 overall gold Babe Ruth that can do the same thing. I'll even show you guys that gold Babe Ruth. Aaron Judge, he's a little bit different. He might be a little bit more enticing. 33 vision does hurt him a little bit, but he does have good contact and good power numbers, especially against right-handers. So that's the thing that helps him out. He has great fielding, arm strength of 76, which is surprising. It should have been higher. And then 66 speed with 89 reaction. You parallel him up to parallel 1, it becomes a diamond. I think this is a solid pick, but due to the options you'll probably have inside the outfield, he is not the one to go with. Ken Griffey Jr., if you get Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey Jr. basically would have to slide into the corners. He could definitely play it still at a go level, but if you get Mickey Mantle, I just don't see a point in Ken Griffey Jr. If you get Miguel Cabrera, even though Josh Donaldson is great with the bat, he's not better than Miguel Cabrera. He's just a little bit better defensively, but at the corners, we don't really care about defense when it comes to the infield, truth be told. So I'm fine getting the better hitter and Miguel Cabrera. Andrew McCutchen, the same thing applies. If you get Mickey Mantle, there's really no point in Andrew McCutchen, especially with such a weak arm in center field. Despite having good speed, Mickey Mantle just whoops his butt all around. Plus, he's not a switch hitter. He's only a right-handed hitter, right? So you also have to think about that. The reason we don't go after this Joe Mauer is because you're going to be able to get yourself a ton of catchers as the game continues to progress. Like if you do the Nation of Baseball Conquest, they give you 88 overall Mike Piazza. You go ahead and collect 30 prospects, or 25 actually, excuse me. You get yourself 91 overall Ali Rutschman. You go ahead and tally the innings for World Series, you get yourself 91 overall Jorge Posada. So there's just too many catchers available for me to really prioritize Joe Mauer as the first option, despite him having great hitting numbers and great fielding numbers as well. Ryan Howard, first base, is somewhere I usually look away from, especially in the beginning of the game, because anybody can play first base and give you the same value as Ryan Howard, since most people that play first base or first base as a secondary already are great hitters with bad fielding. So the same thing is going to apply to David Ortiz. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the description. There we have our Twitch, we have our Discord, as well as our social media links. So make sure you guys go ahead and check all of that out. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out.